Globalization is shaping the future. The world is changing. Technology is taking over this world. Globalization is shrinking. The world is at your fingertips.
Globalization is taking its toll.
Globalization is shaping the future.
Technology is tying the world together.
The world is changing at a rapid pace.
The world is expanding.
The world is reaching new heights.
Dude, stop! You're giving me a headache. What's any of that even mean?
Well, you see, globalization is the interweaving of markets, technology, information systems, and telecommunication systems in a way that is shrinking the world from a size medium to a size small. It's enabling us to reach around the world farther, faster, deeper, and cheaper than ever before. It describes a process by which regional economies, societies, and cultures have become integrated through a globe-spanning network of communication and trade.
Dude, what's your point?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that over the span of Globalization 2.0, which is between the years of 1800 and 2000, the world has seen dramatic change that have contributed to the progress of a completely globalized world.
Tell me about it.
So let's re-jog our memories to about, like 200 years ago. By the early 1800s, the Industrial Revolution was well underway. Groundbreaking discoveries such as Bridgewater canals and the spinning jenny were already being used regularly. By 1801, the idea of the steam locomotive was already in place, and by 1807, the first successful one was done. It transported coal from one place to another. This was huge because coal was used for trade, and for the first time in 1830, people were allowed to use these railways. This would greatly reduce the stress and time that it took to travel. In 1844, the first commercial use of Morse code was used so that people could receive news. In 1856, colored cotton was introduced to the world. This skyrocketed the cotton industry. Due to the high demand of colored cotton, workers now had to work longer hours, including children.
The long and winding road.
It was beginning to be too much for everybody. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer. The workers began to protest their long working hours under brutal and unhealthy working conditions. They started to bond and relied on each other. This leads into nationalism. Nationalism is an ideology that involves a strong identification of a group of individuals who share one or more instrumental commonalities in which they bond over and fight for. The Zionist movement was a very influential nationalist movement. It was founded by Theodor Herzl in 1897, whose goal was to eventually create a Jewish state.
Wait, can you just remind me, how does all that Industrial Revolution stuff relate?
Oh yeah, thanks. I almost forgot. So the prominent European nations, mainly England and France, took all the new inventions from the Industrial Revolution and went to imperialize African nations. They would essentially use them as pawns in order to gain resources and obtain efficiency with all the machinery and whatnot. They were bringing these new innovations to African nations who would have never seen these things otherwise. The Imperial Age, which started in 1870, essentially sped Africa up with the rest of the world and presented them with the power and knowledge.
Psych.
Well, or so they thought. I mean, it was textbook-style manipulation if you ask me. But nevertheless, it played a big role in globalization. Heck, imagine what Africa would be had imperialism never even happened. Well, anyways, in 1903, the Wright brothers made the first human-empowered airplane, and in 1908, Henry Ford made the first model of the T Ford. It is known to man as the first car ever. For the first time in history, people could fly overseas in less than a day, let alone months on a ship. And also for the first time in history, people could go miles without it taking even an hour. These two things were instrumental in World War I. It was the most efficient yet brutal and destructive war known to man. Germany was blamed for the war with the Treaty of Versailles. As a result, they went into billions of dollars of debt. The Zionist movement was renewed, but that would soon change when Hitler came into power. His goal was to wipe the Jewish people off the planet altogether, and although his genocidal plan hindered globalization, the failure of it concluded in the greatest triumph of all, Israel. The Zionist movement was successful after all, and Israel was not the only place. Holocaust survivors dispersed all over the world. Although he did not live to see the day, Herzl's dream became true, and Israel became a state in 1948.
So dude, that's pretty sick, but how did you even make this project?
Well, that brings me to a bunch of new things. In 1990, the World Wide Web was launched globally. It allows people from all over the world to connect with each other within minutes. All you need is a computer and internet connection. You can have instant messenger chats and emails. You can upload pictures of yourself. And then, you can be as cool as me and make videos to educate others. It's a God-given talent. That brings me to other things, such as cell phone and television. Cell phones allow you to call somebody anywhere you are in the world, and you can talk to them. Like they can hear your voice. Like, cool, I know. And television. Well, remember when I told you about the Morse code? Yeah, well, television gives you news as well. It's just visual news. And lightning fast. Alright, so let's play some before and after. At the beginning of Globalization 2.0, it would take someone several months to cross the seas. And at the end of it, less than 24 hours. At the beginning of Globalization 2.0, you would have to physically be with someone to tell them something, and that meant walking. That could take hours. At the end of Globalization 2.0, you could be from miles away, and you could still talk to them. And if you had to drive there, 5 minutes would be plenty. And you're gonna try and convince me that Globalization 2.0 hindered the world's globalization? I don't think so.
Fine, you win.
Here comes the sun.
Thank you, Mr. Holton, for a great year.